Hi and welcome to Her Standards. Today we are going to meet Eunice Mathu, who is the CEO and editor-in-chief of Parents Africa, Kenya's longest running magazine. Without further ado, let's go and have this conversation with her. Nice to see you again, Eunice.
Oh, hi, Quinta. How are you?
I'm fine.
So nice to see you.
Long time. Thank you. You have a lovely place.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you. I know. We're just grateful for it.
You're dressed for the weather. I'm not.
Thankfully. No, but you look very lovely.
Thank you.
As
You
usual.
too, you too.
How are you?
So nice to see you. Very well.
You don't seem to age.
Oh,
What is the secret?
I'm a grandmother, by the way.
Congratulations. This is Her Standards, the show that profiles women trailblazers. Today we are privileged to have Eunice Mathu, who is the CEO and editor-in-chief of Parents Africa. We want to talk about so much, including her career, her life, and her role as a woman in media and in leadership. Now, before she introduces herself, you can be part and parcel of this show by talking to us directly across social media platforms. We are available as KTN Home, and you can also talk to me directly at Quinta Mbori on Facebook, Queenie Mbori on Instagram, and Queenie Saina on Twitter. I'm also available as Quinta Mbori on LinkedIn. We value your feedback and we find a way of getting back to you. So without much ado, we have Eunice here. Hi, Eunice.
Hi, Quinta. Thank you so much for inviting me to your program.
Welcome to Her Standards.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you.
I remember the last time we met was during AWIM 19.
You know, that is about 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
now.
I know.
Can you
So
believe
I can't
it?
even believe time has flown.
Time has flown, but of course with now coronavirus we don't meet anymore.
I know.
So even socially.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to see
Nice
you.
to see
today.
you.
Thank you.
Looking lovely as usual.
And you too.
What are you eating? Because you're not aging. You look very young.
You know, living positively. I
Really?
think that's the word.
That's a trick.
Okay, yes, and believing, you know, in her authority in God.
Wow.
That with Him all is possible.
Lovely.
But thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
hosting us. You have a wonderful home.
Thank you for coming.
Asante sana. Now, anyway, let's just get right into the interview. We were just talking about your latest cover on the Parents magazine, which has been in the industry for stunning 35 years in July.
In July.
How
July.
are you feeling about that?
You know, I even forgotten until my team came to me. I have a big team now that works on that. I'm semi-retired.
Oh.
Until my team came to me and told me, hey, we are 35 years, we want you on our cover. I said, what? No way. I will celebrate 35 years, but I'm not going to be on your cover.
I think you should be on the cover.
But we have somebody else on the cover.
Oh.
Because I have a column in the magazine, and my story is there every time. So we are happy. We think we are lucky to get to 35. It's been quite a journey. Quite a journey.
I can
And not an
imagine.
easy one.
I can
So
imagine.
for us to turn 35,
Yeah.
we just have to say we are blessed.
How did you do it? 35 years is not a long time. 35 years is a grown, walking human being.
It's true, actually.
Yeah.
My children, who were born around that time,
Yeah.
they are grown-up beings now on their own and doing their own things.
Yeah.
Well, how have I done it?
Yeah.
I've not done it alone. It's the teams that surround me. Of course, the vision and mission was mine right from the beginning. But I'm so lucky that I've surrounded myself with people who also carry the same vision. And we have come this far. As you know, when we started, when I look at the first issue, that little black and white, you know, that time we were not...
I wish you had a copy.
I don't
to
have
show our
it here,
viewers,
but
yeah.
I wish I had it
Yeah.
here. When I look at that and see where we are today, I say, my goodness, I didn't know that this is what would transform this magazine into, because it was a black and white. It was only the cover, I believe, which was color. Now look at it, it's a modern magazine. But the other thing is that we have moved with society, because the parent of 35 years ago is not the parent of today. And also realizing that there's so much information out there. So you have to really be good, bring information that people are not able to get on other media, and also be able to live within the aspirations of a younger mother who is very different from my age group. And this is why I'm not the editor anymore, because I cannot edit for this group
the generation.
This is a new generation. These are my children. Yes.
Good job. Anyway, when you were growing up, Eunice, did you ever imagine, or is this really what you wanted to do? Was this your choice, or is it something that you bumped into by coincidence?
No. First of all, when I was growing up, I think it was so hard. So it was not like, you don't even think about what's going to happen to you in 10 years. All you want to do is to get from one class to the next. My mother was widowed when she was very young, so we grew up with my mother. My mother died when I was maybe about 4 years or so. So, and she had these 9 children to bring up, to feed and what have you.
Big family.
So for us, it was a big family, a struggle. But she valued education. And this is one thing she gave each one of her 9 children. And she said, this is the only thing I can give you, because I have no other inheritance. So to come back to your question, at that point, it was not a question of thinking, what do you want to be? You want to pass class 1, class 2, get on, and then of course when you get to high school, you say, oh my goodness, I scored good marks, and I've gone to high school, now let's move on. And it is at high school now when you start thinking about your future. And for me, because I was very good in maths, I thought...
you were good?
I was very good in maths. I thought at one time I would do something, in actual fact I wanted to do BCom at the university. And I was good at maths, courtesy to one of my very good teachers. She was called Margaret Nyaga. Really great teacher. But unfortunately, again, when you are young, you want to do different things differently. You want to discover things. And I applied to go join Makerere University to do commerce. Of course, that is the time that there were problems between Kenya and Makerere. And the Kenyan government stopped all students from going there. So now I had to look for a fallback position at the University of Nairobi, and the commerce class was full. Again, I say I'm where I am because many people have worked with me and they have given me their shoulder to lean on. So I remember when I was at the university, when I went to the university, I was admitted for a BA course, and I was all in tears. I actually didn't want to.
Like many of us.
I was saying, BA to do what? I didn't want to do that. And I remember the day we were doing registration, I was on this line, and this girl, Mrs. Waruhi, she was, I believe, the registrar. She was like, oh, you are here, you're joining. I told her, yes, but I'm not happy. Why? Because I'm going to do BA. And then she told me about a new journalism course that had started, and there was scholarships. And that's how I ended up in journalism. It was not my choice. I didn't even know what it was. And I just wanted to do something different. So that's how I got there.
Any regrets?
Oh no. Oh no, I believe that even if I'd gone to do anything else or commerce or what have you, I would have ended up still as a writer.
As a writer.
Yes.
You grew into it.
Yes, and I love it. And I love that you can be creative.
I know.
And I also love that at the point when I was ready to leave formal employment, I was, able to go out there and do something that I really love.
I know. Oh, well, I've read somewhere that you started the magazine in your 20s.
Yes, in my 20s, and I just got married.
Wow.
Yeah, it was courageous, and I had a very good job at the time. It's now Unilever, South Africa Industries. And I remember when I went to my boss and I told him that I'm leaving, he couldn't believe it. And actually his reaction was, because you got married.
Oh, really?
I wasn't happy about it, because I said, why do men have to think that once you get married, you stop your career?
Your life stops.
And I told him, no, it has nothing to do with that. He didn't even want to listen to what I was going into. Anyway, later, he actually came into my office many years later to tell me, Eunice, I'm so proud of you and what you are doing. And because we remained friends. But many years later, he walked into my office and I reminded him, you know what you asked me?
Yeah.
I didn't resign from my job to get married. I resigned because I wanted to pursue goals that were very, very personal to me.
Yes. What formed that decision, to jump off at that particular time? Because I know many women are struggling with that transition when you jump from being employed into self-employment. What inspired you to, the courage? Because it really takes courage.
It definitely is courage, and particularly when you have a good job, and you have a paycheck every month, and you are living that, and you really don't know what you're going to do, whether it will succeed or not. But I was again lucky, because at that time, and really this is what made me decide to leave at that time, because I knew I wanted to start my own business, and I knew I wanted to go into publishing. I got a consultancy with Enterprise Service, and that consultancy was paying. So I knew even if my business does not pick off, at least I have a fallback position. That was for 2 years. So I used that little gap of that consultancy to be able to set myself. And you're right, you can't just walk out of a job, particularly when you have a family or you have children, or you have gone to school, you're educated, you can't sit at home. You have to use your brain somehow. But that is what gave me that courage, that I had something to fall back to. And when I went, this became so successful, I didn't want any other consultancies after that.
You decided to put your full attention.
My life in publishing.
So how did you publish the first copies? Did you get any financial assistance? Did you apply for loans?
Another big story. We are now living at a time when there's so much money around, and women will get those loans. But actually, I did not even start with Parents Magazine. I started with a consumer magazine. It was called Consumer's Digest. And this was from my experience working for Unilever, because we were dealing with consumer goods, and I was in charge of communication department. And I could see the kind of questions and the concerns that consumers were coming up with. We were always struggling to ensure that we are giving consumers the right information, how to use the product and all that. So when I started, it was a consumer magazine. But then later, I realized consumerism was not such a big issue here. So the numbers were not peaking. And this is when I went into family to do Parents Magazine. Now you asked about money.
Yes.
No, I didn't get any money. I remember when I wanted to buy my first printing machine, actually they were called typesetting machines. And
Back then.
The younger generation don't even know what those are, because we're all used to computers. It was costing 500,000 shillings.
Back then.
I walked into my bank.
That's in 1986.
It was
85.
86, because we are going to be 35 years. I walked into my bank, and there's a bank I had struggled with, and that's where I was banking, and of course, no loans, nothing. And they told me, no, you need to bring collateral. I said, collateral? Yes. What is collateral? Something in your name. A car? No. Land? So I walked out. I went round, and the person, one of the local banks at the time, actually they had the courage, and they're the ones who gave me the 500 I was looking for, and I was able to buy my typesetting machine. Because before that, we used to outsource. I had a young child at the time, but I used to sleep at these typesetters' offices, and they were somewhere in River Road.
Waiting for you.
Because I have to do the proofreading. You do have to do the typesetting, they print the sheet, you look at it, you cancel.
Manually.
Manually.
Oh my God.
So we thank God for the technology we have today. That is so easy. I can work from my home. I don't have to go to the office anymore, and I don't have to have those big machines anymore. Yes. So that's how I started. The money, I didn't get any loans. Other than now, that company that helped me, that new bank that helped me to get my first loan.
Things have really changed. I think we need to appreciate that we are alive. I mean, at this time and day.
Yes.
Anyway, parents has been parents forever, ever since you were growing up. I personally got inspired into writing and reading because of parents. I thank God my parents were avid readers. My mom really loved to bring the Parents Magazine home. One particular, I don't know whether it's still here, it happened to me. There was that category.
Yes,
It happened to me. It was I loved it. I don't know why I was inspired by it.
It's still there.
Oh, it's still there.
I believe. Here. Yeah, there you are. Look at that person.
Nice. It happened to me. It's still here.
Yeah, it is still there. We haven't, particularly the main topics and the main themes of the magazine haven't changed. What has changed a lot is the style. Because if you recall, the earlier copies, we used to do pages and pages of the story and very few pictures. Now we do a lot of images, and our stories are shorter and to the point. Because we know many people now don't want to sit for 2 hours, 3 hours reading. Yeah,
I know. Yeah. Before we get to the contents now, like what happened to me, which I used to read a lot. I remember the story of Bishop Winde and the wife, and many others. I would read about broken families, broken relationships, and I just love how they brought those issues onto the fore. Like these things are actually reality. Why did you choose on calling this magazine Branding with Parents?
Actually, it was not random. We had, when we were doing this, we actually did research for 2 years to come up with really what
2 years of research.
2 years of research.
Wow.
And that is the time that I was doing consumer. So Mathu were doing another magazine, but we were so focused on what we wanted to achieve. And being a young mother, I knew the challenges that young mothers were having at the time. It's again not like now, where you can go to Google and have your problem sorted, or you have an idea of what you're doing. If your child got sick, you had to rush to the hospital, and maybe the child is not even sick, they're even pretending to be sick. But because as a parent, you are so naive, you don't know what you're doing. So because of that, I wanted something around the family, around relationships. Again, being newly married, you get into marriage, and you don't even know where to start.
No idea.
You have no idea. You wake up one morning and you think, is this what I got myself into? And you say, then who do I go to? You can't go back to your mother to ask questions. You can't go to your pastor. Where do you go to? So, with no idea. So it is because of that, we were really trying to find something that can help, strengthen families, help families, particularly young people, find their way, bringing up their children, forming good lasting relationships with their spouses, with their friends, with their children, because the family unit is not just the two people. So that was the basis, and this is how we came up with that. Now, the title Parent, I believe we have so many things. We had the parenting, I see what makes one, somebody who does it today. We had families, we had so many titles. And then we sat, we brainstormed, and at the end of the day, we said the beauty about parents, it encompasses all the generations you're trying to talk about. You can be a parent, you can be a grandparent, so that's how we came up with that title, and it worked very well.
Have you ever been tempted to rebrand it, or change it to something else?
From the name?
Yeah.
No, and I don't think we can, and I don't think we should, because we have rebranded a lot of times, by the way. The typeface, the way everything looks. But if you change, it's like your Mercedes Benz. If you change the name, you change the models, but you don't change the name. And so, that's it. You don't change the name, but you change the rebrand. You rebrand around it, the way it appears, and but not changing the name.
I think you really set the pace, because I see a lot of not just publishers, magazine publishers, even media organizations. What has happened is they have a lot of the categories that you have in here. They only transform now onto the digital space. Like we have people telling their stories, we have people talking about unfortunate events in their lives. I mean, I believe that the person that set the pace was actually
I
think he did a good job.
No, and I believe that, and I'm very proud of that, because when you start something, when we started this magazine, some of the issues we're talking about, particularly relationships, particularly sexual relationships and all that, they were taboo. Nobody talked about them. It's when we started talking about them that even the mainstream media, the newspapers and what have you, also started having courage to talk about it, but we are the ones who started it. So I'm very proud that we opened this space and other people now are coming in. But I only wish that they could make it real, because anything that happens in this magazine, the people we interview are real.
Really.
We don't make it up. I read some stories online
Yeah.
of, you can tell somebody read a copy of Parents, they pick the theme, and then they
change
put
the
names and
yeah.
what have you, and then, you know, they present it. That to me is not life. It's not real and shouldn't be happening.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yes, yes.
You know, you mentioned something earlier on about you setting the pace and actually introducing or giving other media organizations the courage to talk about sex. What prompted that? Why did you decide to have that category in your magazine? Because we are Africans, and you know, sex and sexual issue is a taboo. People don't even want to speak about it openly. But you had the courage to do that.
You know, those are the things that I struggled with.
Yeah.
And even as a young child growing up, going to school, you know, your mother would tell you, don't go there, don't do that, don't do. Until now you grow up, you realize what your mother was telling you. Of course, now you thank God that she guided you, because you could have ended up into a lot of trouble. And then I said, let us start talking about sex to our children when they are young. Nobody ever talked about sex to me when I was growing up. Absolutely. If I had anything, it was from peers and, you know, friends and all that. And you wonder what they're talking about. And when I went to school, I was quite young. So we had older girls in the school. And the kind of things we're talking about, some of them actually got married immediately after high school. So you can tell the age they were at when we were at school. And I think that is the wrong way of getting this information. You know, let us have that freedom that you can sit with your children. Don't start telling them those stories that a child was bought in the market or whatever. I mean, that child will grow.
Yeah.
And even at this age, this is when they need that information more. Because they can go to all these channels, you know, YouTube, you what have you, and get information that is, but if you ground them and you talk about it, then also coming into marriage. Again, you get into marriage when you're so green. You actually do not even understand what is expected of you. So if you cannot talk about these things, then who else is going to talk about it? And we started talking about that, and people actually started coming to us. One of our, again, long-lasting column is real life experiences. And people would tell us that I got married and my husband expected more than I was giving, but then she didn't know what was expected of her. Yeah, so those are the reasons that we started that. But we don't just talk about sex as sex. We talk about sex in the whole context of relationship. Yeah. And we truly also try to emphasize that we are talking about sex in a married relationship.
In a married setup.
Yeah.
Wow, it's breaking a lot of myths and taboos. I know. I don't know, how did you manage to capture Kenyans? I know your first issue of Parents was sold out. We have always been accused of not reading. We have very poor reading culture. So how do you ensure that you tune the stories to a package that Kenyans is well received? And now it's Parents Africa, so the target has actually moved from Kenya to... Yeah.
I think the fact that we came up with issues that were not discussed elsewhere, and the way we were covering them is not fiction. We are not just going looking for statistics and throwing them at people. If we want a story and want to talk about young marriage, you'll come to somebody like you and tell us your experience. And let your husband also be there. Give us your experience and be very honest. Yeah. So I think it's that honesty that people like. But when we were launching this magazine, again, remember, the media was very small at the time. We had only, I think, 2 or 3. I think ATN was still there. Yeah. 2 or 3 media, broadcasting TV stations. Then KBC, of course, was the dominant. And then, of course, the newspapers was yourselves and the nation. Yeah. So you're saying people were hungry for something good to read. But what makes me sad today is that people have stopped reading. People have moved on to social media to get information. And I wish I could tell everyone, please read. I read this magazine from cover to cover. The magazine is also available on as e-paper. But nothing beats this. Nothing beats this one. Even when I
through.
get my e-paper,
Yeah.
I'll still go through this. And then again, I keep them. When you came in, you asked me whether I have any
Yeah,
copies.
yeah.
And just went to my library and
Oh.
picked a few copies because I keep them. And this is what a lot of people do. They keep the copies. But if we can find a way of bringing the reading culture to the people, particularly our young people, it would be very helpful. There's nothing that beats a good book.
Yeah, a slippery slope. I don't know how we're going to make our young ones read books and magazines. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Her Standards. Today we have privilege to have the company of Eunice Mathu, who is the CEO and editor-in-chief of Parents Africa. This is Kenya's longest running magazine, and we're just talking about, the magazine, her career, life, and being in media leadership. If you want to talk to us, which we will highly appreciate, is engage us on social media across all platforms at KTN Home, or you can talk to me at Queen Tambori on Facebook, Queenie Mbori on Instagram, and Queenie Saina on Twitter. We just want to take a short break. The conversation is still going on. We still have quite a lot to talk about. Do not step away. We will be right back.